Good evening, everybody. How are you doing? You all right? Welcome to Newcastle Fans TV. This is the fan reaction show. It's back, and we want you lot to be back in. You'll see a link in the description and in the live chat as well. Get yourself on board. It is free to join. Have a chat. We've got a few people coming up tonight, but we want you lot involved as well. After Newcastle defeated West Brom, I'm joined by Mr. Sam Mulliner. Gotta be happy, Sam, tonight.
Yeah, delighted. It's always nice to get 3 points. It wasn't always looking that way, was it? But we never do things easily, do we? But yeah, great to get the 3 points. Much needed.
Tell all the boys, you know.
He certainly will score goals, and what a goal it was, by the way.
I was waiting for you to sing along and do the next line.
Yeah, not happening. But what a goal that was, by the way, and what a filthy cross. Oh,
made in West Brom.
Quite right, yeah. 2 former loanees. It
was. So please get yourselves involved. This is the fan reaction show. Me and Sam are your hosts, and we've got a few people coming up tonight. We've got PD Proudlock, another YouTuber, coming up just in a second, and hopefully we'll see a couple of other recognisable faces tonight as well. But what is on show? Get yourselves involved. Link is in the description. Hopefully see some of your old regular faces as well. Evening, Luke. How are you doing? Nice win tonight. I'll tell you what we'll do. What we'll do is let's bring him in straight away. Let's bring in Peter first of all on tonight's show. Peter, tell me how you're feeling tonight.
Oh, absolutely delighted with that. Glad we got the 3 points. Another good win.
And
sorry?
Is that an alcohol beverage in your hand?
Good old rum and coke.
Oh, he's gone strong, Sam. You make Sam look like he drinks pop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm delighted the win. I'm just get that annoyance why we like to sit back and invite the opposition on when we take the lead. We shouldn't be allowed to do that, but I think I'm going to give credit to Steve Bruce for getting the substitution right, though.
I was just about to come on to that because he does get criticised a lot, and a lot of people have said, "Oh, it's easy. You should have got the point today. It's West Brom." But at the time, the game was very, very lacklustre, and West Brom, I felt, were in charge up until around about the 65th minute, and he did make those changes. And did you deserve credit for that?
Definitely, yes. I know he had to take Lewis off. I thought he had a very poor game, but the equaliser, he was ball watching. Should never allow that to happen. Definitely, and Steve Bruce had no option but to take him off, bring Dwight Gayle on, get that extra man up front. And a great way to haunt your former club that you won loan a couple of years ago.
It was 2 really good attacking changes, wasn't it? Because obviously Lewis came off for a striker. Richie pulled back into left back, which for the first time he was left back in a flat back 4. So it's quite un-Steve Bruce like, but you got the feeling, despite how we were sitting back, if he'd just let the handbrake off, West Brom were there for the taking, weren't they?
Definitely were. I'll give credit for getting Murphy on as well. Brilliant cross. Dwight Gayle, right place, right time.
What about the lineup? Peter, were you happy with the lineup? Because obviously we had the situation with the COVID. We weren't sure what the lineup was going to be with Bruce. And I actually said, and I said in the previous videos earlier on, that was quite strong if you looked at it, because I feared for the worst.
It looked quite strong. If we go with the back 4, we've got a chance. Because you know the difference between with the back 5, we get completely took to the cleaners a lot of the time. And that's what Bruce, he's got to go with that. Because we know 5 at the back just doesn't work. He goes with 4 at the back, you've got an almighty chance.
He barely had 5 defenders today anyway, didn't he?
Very true, yes.
How do you think Hayden... Sorry, Peter, go on.
Yeah, you were saying?
How do you think Hayden got on? Because I actually thought he was, funny enough, one of the better defenders today, even though he's not a defender.
I know, he did very well. And I think Clark did all right as well. Just one I've got to criticise today is definitely Jamal Lewis.
What for the goal? Do you think it's a great finish?
It's a good finish, but Jamal Lewis, why you're ball watching there? Come across, stop that ball, get on the end of the opposition player. You've got a chance of clearing that away. got to do better than that, unfortunately.
He's got to go. He's got to go to the ball rather than the ball go to him, hasn't he?
That's the thing.
You changed it around. Obviously, Richie went there, and we looked obviously more assured, of course. But are we crying out for Paul Dummett, or are we being a little bit harsh on Jamal Lewis?
I think Jamal Lewis, he is still young. I think he will get better if he works on his defensive side. There's a reason we brought him in, why we paid the money for him. So I think he will get better, but he works on the defensive side. He's got a chance of improving his game. But just don't let balls come across like that and just ball watch them. Try and get there in front of the other opposition player. You've got a chance of clearing that away.
I think as well, that was probably the best battle on the pitch today, wasn't it? Furlong and Lewis. I mean, Lewis didn't win the battle, let's face it, but there was a bit of needle in the first half there. They both got a yellow. It seemed like Furlong had Lewis in his back pocket a little bit. But like you say, he's young. He's got great potential, but his defensive work left a lot to be desired today. And on the flip side, on the other wing, Kraft was probably defensively sound, and yet his going forward, he left a lot to be desired because his crossing was a bit awry.
Yeah, that's the thing. Jamal is just, if he works on a bit like that, he will become the £50 million we paid for him.
Peter, 4 points off a Champions League spot, you know.
Wow.
Mind you, Man City and Man United are playing, so that won't be that. But yeah, I mean, I'm taking the piss, obviously. I'm taking the piss.
Oh, yeah. No.
But I mean, we aren't going to get relegated, of course not. It feels brilliant that we win tonight. Do you feel the performances? I know probably more chunks of tonight. West Brom dominated for probably at least half of the game, at least possibly even an hour at some circumstances during the game. But looking at the Palace one, looking at the West Brom one, you know, we pinpointed these fixtures, Leeds, Fulham, that these are winnable games. We have got 6 out of 6 points. How do you feel the performances have been the last 2 games?
Looked a lot more better. Again, because Bruce, he's gone with 4 at the back. We'll look a lot more attacking. We've been going for it. That's the thing. Because, you know, as I mentioned, what it's like going 5 at the back. We'll look so negative. We'll look so defensive. We'll get wiped up completely. And if he, as I mentioned, goes with this, you've got an almighty chance. Because with no 5 at the back, it just doesn't work at all. So just go with this formation. You've got an almighty chance. Now,
you might not be able to say Peter's head, so apologies that I've knocked your head off, Peter. But this is your channel. Obviously, Peter's put a video out just 5 minutes ago. So go over, had a look at PD Proudlock. He's going to hit 1,000 subs very, very short. His numbers are growing fast. So go help out a fellow Newcastle YouTuber. You've got another video tonight, haven't you?
Yes, I've got my player ratings coming out as well.
So go have a look at PD Proudlock. He's a regular. You'll see him on Sharky's channel, his own channel. He pops on ours as well. Not quite the quiz master, though, are you, Peter?
Oh, remember that last quiz I done? Oh, it was I was against you, Sam, wasn't it?
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, you pushed me the hardest anyone has so far. Yeah, even the mighty Rob Spirrell didn't take me to a tie-break, and I absolutely battered Johnny and Carl the other night. We're filming the quiz final tomorrow night, aren't we, Lee?
Oh, yes, he's got me to face up to.
Oh, good luck with that one. Good luck. Good luck.
And we hope to do it live, because, you know, there's a lot of knowledge in here stored under this magical hat. I'm a bit like Matt Ritchie. Yeah. Peter, thank you very much for coming on. Have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your video. Go over and check out Peter's channel. You as well. Thank you very much for having me on. Thank you very much. Yeah, so that was Peter. So do please go out and head out. We're going to bring Foldy on next. We've got Joseph, we've got Jay, we've got Lawrence, we've got Will. Some familiar faces tonight. I'm expecting a lot of banter, a bit of laughs with our Clinton, who is a star, isn't he, Sam? He's a star.
He is. I mean, I'm surprised he's not charged just for appearing tonight with, you know, image rights, and now he's on the front cover of a movie. It's good of him to give us his time for free. Isn't that right, Foldy? Do your hair. Your hair's looking beautiful.
Yeah, is my line okay?
You're actually quite fuzzy, to be fair.
Yeah, your camera's shy. The lighting's fine.
All this money that they're giving you for this movie, and you still can't even fix your camera.
I know, mate. I know. Flipping hell. How are you guys doing, though? You all right?
Yeah, I'm happy that we've won. How are you?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I only saw the last 20 minutes of the game because I was at a different game tonight that I will be promoting on Roots TV. Again,
You changed.
definitely see it.
You changed. Yeah, this film's gone to your head. Oh, I didn't see the whole thing. I just caught the end. Fashionably late entrance.
The most important bit, I saw Dwight Gayle score a goal. And again, there we go. People need to put some respect on his name. I've been saying to people, Dwight Gayle, no, let's get rid of him. No, he's going to be a champion striker. Well, all of you guys,
That's not me. I've said that after Callum Wilson, Dwight Gayle's the next best striker.
He is, and he proved it again. Just there at the right time, always there. And again, look, I'm not hearing all of this. He's only ready for the championship. Look, he can score against West Brom. He can score against Man United. He can score against Chelsea. He can get us the winner here. There we go, mate. There we go. Anyway.
So would you give him a new contract then? His contract's up at the end of the season.
Yeah, of course. Because again, we're going to already flipping Andy Carroll a new contract. And his best position is on the bench. So why not give Dwight Gayle one? It makes sense to me. We're not going to spend any money.
Yeah, we aren't going to spend many money. We're probably going to get some loans in January. Foldy, it didn't really miss massive amounts. It was a typical Newcastle performance. We got off to a flyer, which I'm sure you've seen the goal. And then West Brom, even I'm getting the teams wrong, came into it and they probably took control. Sam, obviously, you'll probably agree with us that they did. And I actually said in our WhatsApp message, I think West Brom, it's theirs for the taking. And I think you've got to, at the time, we're playing shite. I think Bruce got his sub spot on for once at the right time.
Oh, what? Is that praise for Bruce? Is that Bruce? Right. Wow. Lee, you have changed.
Rosinho. That's his name.
Rosinho. I like to say Bruce Alona. I think I got that from one of our mutual followers. Bruce Alona football in full effect. 3 points. And I heard you mention with PD Proud, like, we're close to the Champions League. Is this years of yesteryear going by? Is that close?
4 points.
Ooh, there we go. European Bruce Loader football, baby. Here we come. Hold on. Let me just dust this off. You might not have seen it in a while. It's a passport. Yeah, I've got that ready. European football, here we come.
Yeah, let's not get too carried away. I mean, Conor Gallagher was by far the best player on the pitch tonight. And for West Brom, they would feel they've been robbed.
Was he on the winning side?
No.
There we go. Doesn't matter.
He might be next season, though, because he'll get a good move.
Yeah.
How do you fancy a fan cam at midnight in Azerbaijan? You up for it?
Yeah, mate. Look, as I said before to you, mate, Mr. Lawler, we were doing fan cams and stuff when it wasn't trendy. Then all these fan channels come on and pop up now, and you know they want to say like they're the innovators. Remember when me and you were doing it when it was Lee Law HD and Ford Have Mercy, and people were laughing at us, but now everyone wants to pop up. Listen, we'll be there, won't we? We will be there.
To be fair, Lee Lawler HD is a horrendous name for a channel.
But you know, credit where it's due, man. You got to give us our credit. We saw something, and now everyone's probably it's fine. You know, it's fine. You know, call us what you want, but end of the day, we've got this ball rolling up in the northeast, and look, everyone wants to get the wood.
Hey, one of the originals is coming up very shortly as well. The guy with long curly hair. Yeah, one of the originals back in the day from the championship. He's coming on very shortly.
Oh, what, Colaccini?
Man like Will.
Oh yeah. He's Mr. Big Time. Forget about me. He's Mr. Big Time now. Bloody hell.
Oh yeah, he's at Aquaturn, he's at Salford. He was in The Guardian, I've seen. Yeah, you'll probably tell us a couple of more when he pops on in a sec. But enough of Will, enough of him. He can have his limelight in a minute. 40, 2 wins from 2 now. Leeds midweek. And then we've got Fulham. These are winnable games, right?
Well, look, you would say that on paper, but we all know game's not played on paper. It is what it is, man. Who's saying that you're famous, mate? I see what you're trying to do there. I see what you're trying to do. Yeah, look, they are winnable games at the same time, but you know, this is Newcastle United. We've been supporting them long enough between us three that we can go and beat a West Brom and then we'll go and lose against a Leeds. No disrespect to Leeds, but it baffles me. If we can only get some consistency together, we would be dangerous. Do you know what I mean? Like, these next batch of fixtures should all put us at least, dare I say it, in the top half, cemented. I know we're in there right now, but I'm saying we should be cemented with these next run of games. But lo and behold, we already know what the next lineup's going to be because, again, we've won this game. So Bruce will think, hold on, we won the last game, we won the game before. Let's just stick to what we know before. So it doesn't change tactics to fit different teams. So I don't know.
I don't know. He very quietly dropped Jeff Hendrick today. Thanks.
He dropped his son.
Flop.
Exactly. Steve Bruce dropped his illegitimate son. Try to say that twice.
Yeah,
wow.
Very quiet, very discreetly on the bench. Didn't even come on as sub, did he?
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. All right, Wolfzone. Okay, yes, you can have my autograph. I see. Look, Lee trying to flip and stir the pot. Okay, look, I've been in a movie. It's okay. I'm not trying to let it go to my head. You know, look, I had, you know, my face got a DVD on it. Rafa Benitez is holding it. Okay, cool. You know, I'm just one among the people. You know, I'm just an average guy. You know, Rafa Benitez knows my face now. It is what it is.
Sorry, we've got an MB.
Signed 4x6s are available on Twitter at Roots TV. Foldy will be delighted to sign some photos and send it out.
There we go. I'm a man about the people, Sam. You know, I can still speak to you, Sam. You know, I can still speak to you, Lee.
Still never invite me to come onto your streams, but yeah, that's fine.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I've got to keep it real, man. If I don't invite you, then I don't invite.
It's all right. We've got Hollywood actors. We've got MBEs coming up. You know, we've got it all tonight. Yeah, we're Newcastle fans.
You've got all the cream of the crop, Lee. You've got all the best. You've got all the ex-pros from Newcastle United heyday. You've got all the presenters, pundits, all the rest of it. And then you just got little old me, who's just been in a film.
Hey.
Do you know what I mean?
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome, mate. Newcastle Fans TV bringing you the best content and the best guests ever. There you go. There's a plug.
You're on one tonight. You're going to start sending me WhatsApp later on, giggling away, aren't you? Your little digs at people and stuff tonight.
You know it for sure, man.
it'll be me who gets the shit on Twitter. Right, Foldy, I'll let you shoot off. Thank you very much for coming on tonight.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. And again, if you're bored of this stream or this stream's done, head over to our stream. We're going to do something around 6 o'clock. I'm sure you'll like it both anyway, but please support as well. Please support Roots TV as well. Thank you very much.
Good night, Foldy. Watch what you're doing.
Peace.
So that was the Hollywood star.
We're going from...
Sam, you're frozen.
Where can we possibly go from here?
Oh, you're moving. Oh, you're moving. You're moving. You're getting like a tranquilivus again. That was Foldy.
I'm moving.
You are moving again. That was Foldy, everybody. Yeah, if you haven't known, he's on We Are the Geordies front cover DVD. The man has acting roles all over, and he's got a great acting role in this documentary. He'll kill me for saying that. We're going to bring on a friend of the channel, which is Joseph, who is an MBE. Hello, mate.
Hi, guys. Can you hear us this time?
Yeah, we can say you're fine, mate. How are you feeling?
Wow, my mic's working first time. Fucking hell, what's happening?
How are you feeling?
Better achievement than breaking the world record at London 2012.
It is. It actually is, and I agree with you 100% there. But that's called preparation. I got in early so I could prep my mic. So maybe that's what I should do in the future.
Yeah, I mean, Joseph, how are you feeling tonight after that win?
Well, we don't make it look easy, do we? Even against teams that are most definitely going down this season. I sent a message into you that says if that was any other team, we're beaten today. Some of the mistakes we're making defensively I think we just tended to run out of ideas, so we didn't chase the game down when we possibly could have. I think one of the main issues, apart from Jamal Lewis, was quite shaky. I think the last 5 minutes of the first half, we didn't respond to that very well in the second half. I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall in Bruce's team talk at half time, because I don't think whatever happened there went to plan.
Be happy with the 3 points, though, because I think he deserves praise for these substitutions tonight, which, to be honest, he doesn't get them right often.
Definitely. I'm over the moon with the 3 points. I'll take the 3 points however we can take them, but at the end of the day, we do make games difficult for ourselves. I think we really don't have to at times. I think first half I was very impressed with, dare I say it, Joe Linton again. He made a lot of things happen, and we're front four, if you can call them a front four, were very effective, but we stepped off the gas, and I think we tried to slow the game down when we could have put a bit more pressure on.
Get a bit of love there, Joseph.
Fantastic, thank you.
MBE. The lineup, were you surprised how strong it was?
I wasn't, because I think we need a strong lineup like that. Obviously, with the coronavirus outbreak in the squad, I was worried that would be playing a weaker side, but I was happy to see some big names in the team tonight. I think it was the right lineup for the game, and I'm a big fan of sticking with the team when they're in form. I'm a big fan of playing in-form players rather than chopping and changing every game. I think that's quite important, and I think we're seeing the best out of the likes of Callum Wilson and Joe Linton from that decision at the moment.
Do you think that Gayle and Wilson could play together in the future?
I think so, definitely. I think Gayle is very quick, and you can tell he's very sharp, and he knows where the goal is. I think whatever he's doing on the training pitch, he must be an absolute animal on there to be knocking at the door and keep getting his place in the team towards end of games. I think there would be definitely an argument now to put him in from the start of the game.
You've got a message here from Lawrence who's going to be coming up very shortly. Lawrence, I've copied and pasted that over. I still remember meeting you, Joseph, right before the London Olympics, by the way. Well done to your local side, Heaven,
Yes.
on beating my local side,
Yes.
North Shields.
My cousin was playing in that game. That's why I went over to see that.
I went and watched Heaven earlier on the season when they played Wickham. Very impressive with their setup and the flying top of the league as well. So it's just
we've got some very impressive local teams around here, definitely.
Yeah, they're gonna get up, aren't they? They're flying at the moment. Joseph, who's man of the match?
That's a tough one. Obviously Gallagher played extremely well for Norwich, but I'd just have to give it to Gayle probably for winning the match.
I know they look like Norwich.
My bad. West Brom. I've had a long day. I'm working very hard at uni, you know. My brain is absolutely frazzled at the moment. So West Brom. But I'd have to say Gayle for winning the game, Tower. Definitely. He just came up with what we needed at the time. So
the intensity changed and it lifted when he came on, didn't it? Because we were just stagnating our way to a 1-1 draw, and the only team that looked like winning it was West Brom or Norwich. But yeah, when Gayle came on, it was just exactly what we needed, and there was just a lot more pace on there, because I think Joe Linton kind of went a bit quiet in the second half. He looked quite sharp again in the first, didn't he? But it's exactly what we needed, and that cross, that goal, filth.
It was. I saw your comment on Twitter about that, and I thought, that's an excellent way to describe it. Definitely, I wouldn't have described it like that, but that's what I would have thought. So, yeah,
I actually thought as well that the first goal was well made as well. I know, obviously, West Bram's left back way out of position. I thought the build-up by Wilson, Joe Linton, and finished off by Almiron was great.
Oh, definitely. They linked up really well, and that was the sharpest they looked. But as well, for that full first half, we're trying to make things like that happen, and the more you try and make things like happen, the more they'll come off. But that's the problem with Newcastle. I think this game we had the most shots on target that we had all season. I think that was a stat that they brought up. So if we can build on things like that, get ourselves into the positions to do that, then we've got a better chance of killing games off, which we managed to do eventually today, but it was touch and go for large periods of the second half.
And if you look at the two fixtures that we've got coming up, you know, Leeds are 3 points behind. We've played an extra game. Fulham are towards the bottom. You've got to say minimum 4 points. Ideally, you want 6, of course you do. But Newcastle win them, you're going to have to get your passport out and join with abroad somewhere in the middle of Liechtenstein or Azerbaijan next year.
Oh, 100%. I'll be there if we get some European football, definitely. But I think with Leeds, they are a very good team. They do play quite fast attacking football. They're very hard to slow down and really pin down in a game. So we'll have to be very careful with that. So it would be, if we get 1 point out of Leeds, 3 from Fulham, I think that's a good shout. I think that's good going for us. But with Newcastle, obviously consistency being one of the main issues of the season and Newcastle in general, I have a really bad feeling we're going to get battered by Leeds.
Well, why? Because of Bielsa factor or the high press game?
I just think the way Newcastle play, I think it's not necessarily anything to do with Leeds. I just think we get a bit complacent when we've had a string of good games, when we've had a draw or a win, when we've had 2 wins in a row. I'm really not confident to see in a third win, especially the way we've been playing today. The fact that we didn't, it's not like we lost concentration. It's like we lost the intensity and we lost the energy in the team. And I think Joe Linton as well, when his head dropped, that sort of the rest of the team dropped as well. I know Joe Linton's not the be-all and end-all of the team, but it just coincided with that. You're seeing him start to falter a bit, and then the rest of the team started faltering as well.
Yeah, but you kind of disagree. We've got 6 from 6, although we're not playing great, sitting in the mid-table, not far from Europe, but we're not going to go down. We're too good. But Joseph, thank you very much for coming on tonight.
Thank you very much for having us, lads.
No worries. Thank you. And that was Joseph. And we've got coming up very short, we've got Will next, then Jay, then Lawrence, Elliot, and we've got James. James, I'm looking forward to because he's always controversial, isn't he, Sam?
Of course I remember James because when I used to host this at the back end of last season, he said he would sell the whole of the team, but apart from Cher, Dubravka, and ASM and Almiron, and there was quite a long list in the end for someone who's selling the whole team. So yeah, it'll be good crack. Look forward to it. Love it. Glad this show's back. I've missed it.
It has. You're struggling a little bit, mind, Sam, on your camera. Are we back?
I'll go out and go back in then.
Come out and come back in. Whilst we're waiting for Sam to come back in, what I will do, I will bring in the old mucker. Will, how are you doing, mate?
I'm doing good, thanks. How are you?
I'm really, really well. So it's nice to see your big curly hair as ever. People who don't know, Will was almost like a founding member back in the day, weren't you, of NFTV?
Almost. I was the first to jump on the bandwagon, I think. I remember, because it was the season we went down that you started, and then I was watching along, and then you said, does anyone else want to come on? And I thought, yeah, sure, why not? That sounds fun. And look where I am now. Look where we are now.
What are you up to now, then?
So I'm working for a football website called Football Insider. Really enjoying it. But I'm back at uni again. I'm doing a master's in broadcast journalism at Salford. And I've had some great opportunities there. Worked with a couple of football clubs. Worked with ITV, being at BBC, Guardian, as you mentioned. Not sure I'm quite Mr. Big Time, but it's been really enjoyable. But obviously, none of it would be possible without you guys.
All of them organisations and say you're not Mr. Big Time.
No, not just me. I never forget where I came from. Can't forget my roots. If you want to reference to 40s TV channel.
Yeah, he's getting quite a bit of airtime of Foldy, isn't he? Yeah, back in the day in the Championship, it was me and Will, and we expanded, and look where we are now. Yeah, Will's got on to some fantastic stuff. Will, I wanted to get you on, just have a chat about football, about the tune. Obviously, you watched it. What's your initial thoughts after winning today?
Pleased, not a good performance, but you take it. I think when such a great start, 20 seconds into score, it's very rare. I was actually very surprised. I nearly missed it. But West Brom came back into it well. They showed a lot of resilience. We didn't take any of our chances going forward, and you thought that 1-1 was coming straight away. And then as soon as it happened, you weren't surprised at all. And of the two teams for a lot of that second half, I thought West Brom would go on and win it. But a great header by Dwight Gayle. It had an air of the Rondon goal versus Bournemouth. Kennedy's cross in.
Reversed, doesn't it?
Just reversed. A great ball from Jacob Alexander-Arnold Murphy. Two great substitutions by Bruce. And he deserves a lot of praise, I think, for today. It's been a hard couple of weeks with COVID and hitting the squad and having to, somewhat of a makeshift, a few changes in there. But grinded that one out. I would expect to be a bit more comfortable against West Brom at home, but to take 3 points, wouldn't you?
Did we look fatigued? Was COVID a factor?
I think it must have been. When you get COVID, I've seen it. You can feel very tired for quite a while, and it can affect you quite a lot. I've seen that apparently one player's been hit with it really, really hard. So I think it's a big effort from everybody to have come out of it looking pretty good, and I think they weren't quite apart from a very sharp start, I think there was a bit of fatigue in the squad, because you can lose match fitness as well. That's the important thing, is that even if it's only for a few days, training every day really helps to keep it up. So I thought they did very, very well considering that, and they've had 2 weeks off as well. So I think it's a very good effort from everybody involved, and credit to the medical team for helping get that squad out, because it was a strong lineup, and I don't think they could have done it if they hadn't been as attentive.
Yeah, and you got to think we've got a game in 3 days as well against Leeds on Wednesday night, and we'll have 1 or 2 drop in, or will it be the same squad? We could be stretched again against Bielsa's high press. But in terms of, we've got 6 points out of 6. You can't really ask any more than that. I know the football's not pretty, but is it better than what it has been, say, last month?
It's difficult to say. I feel anytime you get any optimism about Newcastle, you come crashing down. I remember feeling so optimistic at the start of the season. We got some good players in and thinking, okay, something we can build on here. And then we lost 3-0 at home to Brighton. You just immediately come crashing down with a bang. And I think against Leeds, we're going to really struggle. They're a very good team, a very fit team. And the turnaround that we've got is it's going to be very, very difficult on our squad. But you never know. We seem to have taken the doggedness over from last season, but the quality of Callum Wilson coming in has really helped. Even with saint-maximin not in the team, we seem to still have more creativity going forward. I think Jacob Murphy's probably been the surprise package, I'd say, of the season, that he's come in and performed very well whenever he's played. Dwight Gayle as well, in his first 13 minutes, has already scored. And he always seems to do well when he's called upon, even when we had the Summer of Football Festival that we had in the lockdown months. So I think there's optimism that we're looking better than we did, certainly at times last season. But I would like to see Bruce be a bit braver, I think, at times. I think we could have put West Brom to the sword a bit more in this game and could have run away with it. We've not really won comfortably at all this season. But I think we've got it in us. I really do. And, when players come back, such as Ryan Fraser and saint-maximin, hopefully we can see that a bit more.
There's a question off John B for you. You mentioned Gayle there. Would you extend the contract?
Yeah, I would. So much uncertainty over the club and, who's going to be owning it. That saga seems though it will never, ever end. And for Dwight Gayle, he delivers. And he's pretty much delivered every time he's been called upon for Newcastle. And Andy Carroll, whilst I think he serves a purpose, hasn't performed, I think, at the level that any of us want him to. And a rotation of strikers between Joe Linton, Wilson and Gayle, you could do a lot worse than that. Reliable goal scorers, well, Joe Linton not so much, but certainly Wilson and Dwight Gayle. I think he's a very good option to have off the bench. So yeah, I'd give him a couple more years. I think he could be a very valuable member of the squad.
Yeah, he's the second best at the club, I think, in terms of strikers. I think I like about Wilson as well. He's pacey, but he puts himself about a little bit as well. He's quite stocky. Obviously, he's got loads of pace, and I quite like that about that. Sam, since you're having a little bit of break there, I'll let you answer that one. Nobby Solano for Newcastle manager in the future. Would you like to say that?
Who knows? He's at Peru, isn't he, at the minute? He's the assistant for the national team, isn't he?
Yeah.
Or is he with the under-21? Yeah, but maybe in the future, who knows? He's got to. He's very early on in his management career, so he's got a long way to go. But we won't replace Bruce, not whilst we've won back-to-back games and we're comfortably mid-table. There's just no chance of that happening at all. We'd have to be right down the bottom and deep in the shit like we were when McLaren got the sack. So Bruce is here for the foreseeable. But Eddie Howe, I mean, we've got half of his old team, haven't we? So he definitely knows them. But speaking of his old team and his old players, I can't wait to see Ryan Fraser in that team. It just brings so much more down the one side because we're still looking a bit light. I still don't like Almiron on the right because there was a couple of occasions he was trying to cut in, trying to time his run. Kraft couldn't find him. It was a bit frustrating. But right when Ryan Fraser's fit and firing, then he's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, we might even get Joshua King. We'll just keep adding on Bournemouth players. Will, before I let you go, what do you make of the job Steve Bruce has done?
It's always a difficult one, I think, with how Newcastle never seemed to be far away from a crisis and from Bruce being able to be kicked out the door in our eyes. But then again, we're in a quarter-final of a major competition and we're mid-table in the league and not far off European places. We always seem to hover around that. I think I would like to see him be a bit more confident and show a bit more confidence in the players. I think the setup that we go for a lot of the time, 5 at the back or being very defensive like we were today when we went 1-0 up, I don't think it shows a lot of faith that the players can put teams to the sword and show their creativity a bit. I think he can be a bit braver, and that will come with time. I think he's doing a fairly solid job, and like you said, I don't see him being replaced anytime soon. Newcastle are fairly comfortable in mid-table, and whilst there's not going to be the investment we maybe all wanted, at one point in the summer, there's still going to be steady investment in the team and getting the players that they want. So the boards clearly back him and they clearly believe in him for now. So I think he's doing a pretty good job. He's under fire pretty much every week, and he keeps bouncing back with results. And as long as Newcastle are picking up the results, then you kind of got to be happy with that one. We're a very dogged team. We're one that stays in games quite often. We don't really get battered all too often either, and we just keep picking up points. Whether we can put together a string of performances together and make a charge for Europa League places or into a final of a cup competition, that'd be great to see. I'm as long as he's Newcastle manager, I will keep backing him. I think.
I want to be sat here. I want to be sat here this time next week after Fulham saying, right, he's let the handbrake go. And he's just allowed a bit of creativity and a little bit because it's just all a bit too overly cautious. And West Brom were there for the taking. We went 1-0 up after 20 seconds for crying out loud. And then we just sat back. And luckily it didn't bite us in the arse, which it could very well have done on another day. But he's just too overly cautious, which frustrates nigh on everyone, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree because we've got the players now. I know it's under Ashley, but we do have that 4 attack and threat, and we'll get them all 4. And I'm talking about Fraser, Almiron, saint-maximin, and then Wilson. There's a 4. That's brilliant. But Will, thank you very much as ever. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Sam, now you know the person you pinch your tweets from Football Insider. There you go. You're sitting to your left of you. Will, thank you very much. Enjoy your night. Good to see you. Right, okay, we'll bring in Jay, who is an avid supporter of NFTV. We say this all the time. He's absolutely brilliant.
Hey boys, what the 3 points makes it all worth it today, right? I mean, just whether Bruce did it on purpose or not, we got 3 points from a team that we must get 3 points from. And so, hell of a morning for me, and hopefully a hell of an evening for the rest of you as well. The lineup picked itself for the most part. I said early that I was pretty happy that Clark was where he was. He put in a shift. But I think not having Fernandez and Lachals back there and their more stabilizing, experienced influence, I think they would have controlled Lewis a little earlier, is my opinion. Or at least said, hey, man, wake up over there. Maybe mark a guy. Maybe go to the ball. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I like that. But I think we do need to give Fernandez a bit of a shout-out because he's been the Iron Man of Newcastle, hasn't he? This is the first game he's missed for how long? I bet he's getting on for 12 months, maybe even longer. I bet that's. I don't know. We need a stat man now. Rob's gone, but he's been absolutely superb, and he's been the absolute rock. So he was a miss, of course he was, and you make a cracking point that maybe that communication was lacking there just to wake Jamal Lewis up. But I think with Lewis as well, Furlong got in his head with that little spat that they had. He proper wanted to give him a bite back, and maybe a bit fortunate in a way because you just can't get away with anything with VAR. And fortunately, it was only just a yellow, but it's not a day that Jamal Lewis will look back at favourably. But great point about Fernandez and Lascelles as well.
Jay, you've got to be happy with where we are in the league at the minute, because if you look at that now, we're sitting on 17 points. And if you look now, that's a whopping 11 points of safety now, depending on what Burnley's result is. So we're looking up the table more than down, because if you look higher up, we're closer to the top 4. I know Manchester City and Man United, so that gap will get a little bit bigger tonight. But generally speaking, we're literally 3 points off 5th place.
What a West Ham in there.
That's my attitude as well too. We need to look up. I mean, we've all been at this a long time, so we have to worry about the foolishness that we do. But with the talent that we do have the ability to be a solid mid-table aspirational team right now. I believe that right now. Could we have better players? Of course. Are we as good as the top 6 across the board? Of course not. But we have the talent to beat our peer teams. And as Will said, put the lower teams to the sword. I'd like to see that too. So I think that I don't know, 6 points from the next 2 is a lot, but that would show the kind of winning mentality that I want to see out of the club. And I wonder, I think a lot of that would depend on which Leeds team we get midweek, right? Because I think those are the 2 points that are there to get, which would. Well, that would put us in, if we were to get 6 points from the next 2 matches, well, we'd be in sort of loony land up there, right? You know, going to win the league, right? I would expect that.
Yeah, that would be crazy. But the thing is, we have got a good record at Leeds. We've got a great record at Leeds. And I think with their form, Leeds, just go down a little bit on that league table so we can see Leeds. Look at that run of form. There's 3 red dots there for losses and only 1 green tick for a win. They're that would suggest to me they've been found out a little bit.
I agree completely.
So, I mean, maybe I was thinking about this the other day, but I didn't want to say it before we play them, so I'm not going to. But I want to compare a team from last season to Leeds this season, but I'm not going to. I'll tune in next week to find out what that would be. But yeah, it is Norwich. Cheers. It's all over my bonfire. But that's the thing. But Bruce did suggest that players will return for midweek, so hopefully the squad can get rotated just a little bit to rest these tired players, and we can bring a couple of them back in, like your Fernandez's and your ASMs and whatnot, because these are games that you've got to look at, and as Jay rightly says, you've got to be targeting at 6 points.
Yeah, you've got a bit of love as well there. You always get a bit of love, Jay, don't you?
A little bit. I appreciate that. Right. I try not to say nice things. I said something nice about Paul, and then he went away. So I try not to get too much love from you guys.
Here's some nice stuff about Sam. Say lovely stuff about Sam.
Hey, can I make a final point about ASM quickly?
Yeah.
So tonight showed us that against certain teams, playing a 4-4-2, whether Bruce likes that or not, playing a more open field strategy with its risk against certain teams is to our advantage, especially when they foolishly play the back line so high against us like they did in the beginning of the match here. But when that gives our attacking players room to maneuver, we have a lot of people that can create opportunities. Our shots tonight are excellent. We had a number of players putting the ball in the frame. And ASM may be he certainly is our best creative attacking player. And we need him to beat the very best sides. I think we showed here today that when he's not wanting to play, well, we don't need that. We don't need that ASM. And we can play against mid-tier and lower sides without him. And I would hope he notices that, because I'd much rather have him in the squad with his head in the game. But I liked how he looked tonight in the space that we had without him. I'm hopeful he learns that lesson as well too, but you never know.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Sorry, you don't want to be over too reliant on one player. That's a thing where you look at Palace. They've been Zaha over the years, Jack Grealish, De Villa. I know Villa have obviously improved a little bits and bobs, but you don't want just to be in a one-star player and it proves. And I think sometimes as well, dropping a player is also a good thing for one or two matches. We've said this about Jamal Lascelles because his performances have been up and down. It's not a harm if he drops to the bench for a couple of games and comes back in. I think it's sometimes good for the team and the individual just to get a bit of a kick up the arse and just say, look, you need to kick up the backside for the greater good.
Well, 3 points is 3 points, boys. Right? Any way we can get them, and I am just thrilled to get it. And by the way, love the live shows. There's a lone yank over here. We had some others in the comments. Boy, I love being able to talk to and be around, at least chat with some other Newcastle fans. That's a common thing for you, but not so common for me. So much appreciated, lads.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. We've obviously had a hiccup. If you've seen the website, you'll probably understand why with the war of words with the club, but we'll leave that for another video for another day. But Jay, thank you very much. Support of the membership as well. We do appreciate that. I haven't forgotten about that. He gets to see some exclusives before everyone else as well. And there's also all the quiz videos as well, which have to be edited. Put it that way. Jay, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Cheers, lads.
Thank you very much. We'll bring Lauren straight in as well since time is ticking.
All right, lads.
How are you doing, Lauren?
All right, how you guys?
Not bad. Thank you very much for being patient waiting. I know it's a long time, but everyone likes to have their say. Got to be happy tonight, Lawrence. 6 from 6, the last 2 games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Finishing now. We're sitting in what, 11th place? Have you got your passport renewed? Look at that laugh, man.
well, we might make the Europa Conference or whatever. Well, me and Lee will remember. Yeah. Lawrence, you might be a touch too young, but do you remember the Cup Winners' Cup on a Thursday night back in the day?
Well, I know it was abolished in the same year I was born, but I know about it.
God, that just made me feel old.
Wow. I remember getting put out by David Batty sliding for one of the, was it Partizan Belgrade or Red Star Belgrade?
Yeah. So for viewers of a younger generation, this is how it was in the 90s when the 90s were great. So you had the Champions League on a Tuesday night, the UEFA Cup, or as it's now called the Europa League, on a Wednesday night, and you had what was called the Cup Winners' Cup on a Thursday night. And it was just great. So you never know. Thursday nights, Europa Conference, LDV Vans, Anglo-European Trophy. You never know.
Yeah.
Can you imagine it, man? Can you imagine them going to the Far East? We'll be daft enough to go because that's what the Newcastle fans are like. But Lawrence, you talk about obviously the great start that we had as well. You're talking that's the second quickest Premier League goal after Alan Shearer's one against when Carlo Nash whacked it off his arse. Shearer's arse and went it back the net. What was the initial thoughts getting off? It was a great build-up, do you feel?
I was just amazed at, especially because West Brom were taking the kick-off, and it's like, how do you take the kick-off and concede within 30 seconds? That's nearly as embarrassing as when that start the Leicester game under John Carver, when conceding 30 seconds.
Well, we did remember Man City when, I think, was it Aguero or Sterling, where we went 1-0 down?
When conceded the penalty.
Yeah, we went 1-0 down.
Yeah.
We turned it around later on.
Yes, because I thought you meant the 5-0 game.
Yeah. How do you feel Joe Layton got on? Obviously, he played up front with Wilson Palace, performed well. Not the same kind of form that he was in against Palace. However, do you see that partnership building, or now that Dwight Gayle's come off the bench and netted, he's knocking on the door and saying, well, wait a minute, I've just scored a goal here?
I think Bruce has got a selection headache for Wednesday night, because it's kind of like, how do you accommodate Joe Linton, Wilson, Almiron, Murphy, and Gayle?
It's a good choice to have. He's mentioned that in his press conference with the goalkeeper situation as well. If because Dubravka's obviously going to be training very shortly. It's only a matter of a week or two away. Yeah. And then he's going to have that difficult choice in the new year of who for me, he goes with Darlow because it's for Darlow's to lose, not for Dubravka again. So it's a similar kind of thing. If you can get all of his players fit, like Ryan Fraser coming off the bench, you talk about last season, that was Chris Natsu. I know obviously Fraser wasn't involved today, but generally speaking, you look at the bench and you say, God, we've got Hoslo or we've got Chris Natsu coming off the bench to try and change the game.
You remember this time last season, we're all like, oh, we should give Muto a go.
Yeah, I was kind of one of them, but yeah.
Well, with Mutu's out the door. He's got a gun, and I scored a couple of weeks ago.
One goal in the Spanish league. I think he's not even getting ahead of the team, ahead of somebody from Middlesbrough who was dropped in favour of David Nugent.
Yeah.
But yeah, this time last year we were all going, "Oh no, we should give Muto a go. He's not had a chance."
Aye, but I think Gale's got a goal, so I'm happy to give him a run in the side and maybe just keep him after January.
How do you feel? Because we haven't really touched upon it. How did you feel with centre of midfield getting on? Because we haven't really talked about that tonight. Because I actually feel in large parts West Brom. I keep calling them West Ham. West Brom dominated. I feel, and in particular, we highlighted Gallagher in the pre-show, and I thought, and a lot of us thought, the lad at NFTV, he was their best player.
He looked a threat.
Well, he's on loan, isn't he, from Chelsea? And he's been at Charlton. He's been at Swansea. And we were strongly linked to him as well, so that could have been one that we could have pinched. But we've got we haven't again talked about the January transfer window as well, because that's only around the corner as well, Lawrence. Yeah. Do you feel it's going to be loan deals if we were to strengthen?
Probably. I think we need to look at getting rid of players as well, because we've got practically a full squad. I'd definitely get rid of Carroll and Yedlin at the minute. And
Yedlin's a certainty, I think. Do you think so, Sam?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got 3 right backs and none of them are that particularly brilliant.
Well, I'll bring in a new one. Maybe he's like either a younger one, or maybe he's like maybe someone who could be an upgrade. I
saw in the comments Max Aarons is mentioned, but I mean that lad narrowly missed out on a move to Barcelona. I think he's probably a bit out of price range, but he's obviously a fantastic player, and he's absolutely wasted in the Championship, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think I'd probably look at bringing back Willems, maybe to help Jamal Lewis.
That's the most logical one. Get rid of Yedlin and just replace Willems with that 25-man. There you go. Maybe 1 or 2 weeks. Yeah, you've got to try and shift some of the deadwood, Save and Lazar. I know they're running down the contracts. Get them alone. That's them gone. Get them alone. That's them away. Yeah,
I think Rand Aarons will join Huddersfield. Because he would have, but for the paperwork. Christian Atz, I can see leaving. Lazar, from what I've heard, I can see him going as well, permanently, by the way. I think 1 or 2 of them might just terminate the deals like we did with Key.
Yeah, hopefully. Give us a score prediction for Wednesday then, Lawrence.
Man, this early.
Yeah, I win. That's why you're on the show for. You tell us.
All right, then. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, but obviously it could change.
Sitting on the fence. I'm disappointed in you, Lawrence. I'm very disappointed. You're not Johnny Greenwood. You know that, don't you? Lawrence, thank you very much for coming on. Enjoy the rest of the night.
Cheers, Lawrence.
Right, we will bring in Elliot. Elliot's been waiting very patiently. Hi, Elliot. How are we doing?
Hi. I
Hiya.
enjoyed tonight's results it was a good game. But the game I'm most looking forward to is Brentford for an early Christmas present.
That's if we win. That's if we win.
Early Christmas present. And also, I'm looking forward to the Leeds match.
Why? Why Leeds?
My score prediction is going to be 2-0.
Oh, go on, Elliot. Brilliant. That would be good.
Do you think, Elliot, that the Brentford game is the biggest game of the season? Because we're safe, aren't we? We're 11 points clear now.
Biggest game of the season. I agree with all of you lads. Yeah.
And it'll also be the first time that we'll have fans, which I know it's obviously not Newcastle fans. Don't get me wrong, it's Brentford, it's West Londoners, but it's the first time that the lads will play in front of a crowd. Do you think that'll be a little bit alien for them?
I'm hoping for the crowds. Sorry. Can you?
Well, we cannot wait until we get back.
I'm hoping for the crowds to be back in next Saturday.
Well,
Saturday.
I think you're being a little bit too optimistic, if I'm being honest.
I'm hoping but some fans might be split on this until there's a vaccine.
Yeah. Be nice to see a small number of fans inside St. James's, though, wouldn't it? I think we find out Wednesday, don't we, what's going on with the tier system.
It's up to Boris Johnson when we can go to the matches. It's up to Bojo.
Yeah.
I'm desperate to go to the matches.
Yeah.
I think we all are, to be honest, Elliot. I think we're all craving to try and get back St. James's Park in a safe environment.
Yeah.
I just want to touch back on today's game. Who was the one that stood out for you in terms of Newcastle?
Dwight Gayle.
Super. Well, he's going to go up the headlines for grabbing the winner, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And would you start Wednesday? Did he start for you on Wednesday?
What did you say about Wednesday night?
Did Dwight Gayle start for you on Wednesday?
Yes, absolutely.
And would you put Joe Litton back on the bench?
Yes, because of the lack of firepower with Joe Linton. It was a great goal against Spurs last season.
Yeah.
But he's not worth £40 million. He's worth 4 pence. I might be very controversial, but that's my opinion.
Nah, I couldn't disagree. I mean, he has. We say this every week. Slightly got better, but that is not good enough to play Premier League.
No. It's League One football where the Baggies are.
Elliot, I want a score prediction off you for Wednesday night. Obviously, you said that we are going to win, but who's scoring the goals before I let you go?
I would love to say Matt Youngstaff and Dwight Gayle.
Dwight Gayle's getting a lot of love.
Turns up on the bench or who's in the team news on Wednesday night. I'll wait for that and put my opinions in on Wednesday.
Well, come on Wednesday and let's see if you're right. All right, Elliot. Yeah. Thank you very much for coming on.
Cheers, Elliot.
No problem. Anytime.
Enjoy your night. And back last but not least, Mr. Controversial himself, Mr. Fernie. How are you doing?
How you doing, lads? He's all right?
I'm good. Sam's been waiting for you for the past hour.
Oh, I bet. Sorry, I would have come on earlier. I had to pop out though, just to the shop.
Say something controversial. We're just waiting for it.
Well, it wasn't a great performance, was it? If we're being honest.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't great. We got the win there in the end. We took the lead within 22 seconds. But we just decided to sit back. I honestly, I just couldn't understand what's going on. Surely if you go 1-0 up, that should give you the momentum to push on and, score a couple more goals. But as we've seen this season again with Steve Bruce, he's just sitting back. It's really disappointing to see. Then, of course, as you could see how the first half went on, you could see that West Brom were going to equalise. It was only a matter of time. I think their midfielder Conor Gallagher, who's on loan from Chelsea, he definitely looked a threat and was their best player. I definitely agree with that. What was said earlier on.
You get a bit of love. Yeah. You get a bit of love.
Makes a change.
Nice to see. It's normally a lot of criticism. Normally.
Nice don't write any letters, and you won't get any criticism.
I ignore everything anyway. So
Best way. Right. Let's talk a bit more about the game. And someone just mentioned Kieran Clark, and we haven't really talked much about him tonight. Kieran Clark was brilliant today, says Daryl. Not really talked about as much. Is that because he just goes quiet and does his job so elegantly, as I would say with Fabian Schär?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. He's been solid. When Clark first came in, everybody was against it. I remember everybody, Calamity Clark. Do you see how he played at Villa and that? The Villa fans couldn't wait to see the back of him. But, to be fair to him, he came here. He looked really impressive, obviously, in the Championship under Rafa and that. He's come back and he's been in and out the team. He's been blighted by injuries a bit. But, as soon as he's been given his chance by Bruce, he scored a couple of goals last season as well from corners as well, which was good. And I totally agree. He's been solid, and he was again solid today. And he was our only recognised centre back on the pitch. The rest of them were out through COVID or injuries or whatever.
How do you feel Hayden got on next to him? Because Hayden looked like he wasn't out of place tonight.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think he did a steady job, Hayden. To be honest, there's a few scrappy moments in there, obviously, with West Brom when they had their moments and that. But overall, I thought Hayden slot in well, and he did all right. You've got to remember with Hayden, though, I don't know if you have noticed, but when he used to be at Arsenal, he did slot in at centre-back in a couple of League Cup games, and he did all right in there. So I always knew he could do a job there if we've had a centre-back crisis, which we seem to have had in the past, certainly this season and last season as well. So I've always thought, he could always step in and do a solid job for us.
What do you make of Jamal Lewis getting a bit of stick tonight for the goal that he's conceded? How do you find that his start in Newcastle's been? Because he seems to be going forward. He seems to be that bit of threat. Delivery's a little bit suspect, yes, but defensively, not quite there yet.
Yeah, poor guys, poor. I gave him a chance at first, but to be honest with you, I do not understand why we signed him. And that's not being harsh on him. Yeah, I just don't understand. 15 million. Yeah, he could get better as time goes on. He's only 23. But come on for that goal. I mean, surely he should have anticipated that his man, Furlong, who of course he had a push and shove with earlier, wasn't going to try and get on the end of it. It was just stupid. It was just him ball watching. And that is something that he needs to work on. But of course, with this manager here, I just don't think we're ever going to see the best of this guy. Not that I think he's that good anyway, but, it just makes it 10 times worse than that. And yeah, he's very poor. Even some of the crosses, even after that, just went straight to the keeper and that. You just think, how? And I was kind of glad that he took Lewis off for Gayle, which is interesting, which is one thing I will give Bruce credit for. Haven't been his biggest fan this season, and I want him out. But despite me wanting him out, I can still give him credit where it's due. And if the credit where it's due is bringing Gayle and Murphy on for Kraft and Lewis. First of all, that's earned us 2 points. Would Kraft have put that ball in that Murphy did? No. Would Gayle have finished that chance like Joe Linton would Joe Linton have finished that chance like Gayle did? No, he wouldn't have. So, yeah, I think that's a positive, and we've got to give Bruce credit for his substitutions.
I would agree. If you look at how we ended the game, Sam, I'll come to you with this. Newcastle finished the game with one defender, one recognisable defender.
Yeah.
Which was Kieran Clark.
Well, Yedlin came on, didn't he?
Well, you come in for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit disappointed in you, James, really, because I was finding myself agreeing with nearly everything you just said. I mean, Lewis has had a bad game. I do like the lad, and I think he will come on, and he's a good player. I think bringing Willems in to have the two of them, because no matter what Lewis is doing at the minute, he knows he's going to be playing if he's fit, because he's the only proper left back at the club at the minute. So bringing Willems,
Dummett's there, because Dummett's been playing.
He's just not defensive, Dummett. Too defensive for me.
And I prefer Dummett at centre back as well. So, and Lewis knows he can play. He needs a bit of competition for places. Bringing Willems back in, who we all love and we all want to see back. Questionable injury record, but to have them, two of them, that's proper good strength in depth. Newcastle managed the last 10 minutes, or the last 5. Well, yeah, it would have been last 10 minutes because there was 6 minutes of added on time. But they managed the game really well. Saw the result out, and there wasn't that much hairy moment. So it was a professional job in the end, and got the 3 points when they didn't really deserve to on the whole, did they? West Brom might feel a bit aggrieved that they didn't come away with a point, but unlucky. We've got all 3.
Yeah, and Slaven Bilic might be fearing for his job. Just, you mentioned the late goal. I'll just put this little graphic on, which we had on with stream a little bit earlier on. If you look at the one where it says 7 of Newcastle's 15 goals conceded have come in the last 10 minutes. And obviously we've scored quite a few ourselves in the last 9 minutes. Is this a trend that seems to be happening more and more in the Premier League, James, that fatigue, substitutions, more and more goals are going in later on? Or is it just one of those things that this is just a thing that comes round?
It's one of those things, in my opinion. Same for all of the 19 teams in the league, to be honest with you. Yeah, I get fatigue and that, but at the same time, these players are getting paid very well, to keep fit and, have good, basically good, what's the word? Like energy levels, like good stamina and that, and so they don't get fatigued and that. That's why they're trained, as athletes every single day. So, yeah, I do get that at one point, but also it's the same for every other team in that. Yeah. Yeah,
last question before we wrap up, because we've got a video coming up. Wednesday night against a high press and Bielsa side, does that worry you, or are you pretty confident going into that game?
To be honest, having to think about it in the last 10 minutes and 10, 15 minutes before I came on, I had a little bit of a think about it, and I've had a thought. I think that's a disaster, really, for us, to be honest. I'm not trying to be negative again or something like that, but I just look at when
go on.
No, but it's just me being honest. When you look at the two styles that are clashing, obviously you've got us who sit back and that and try to break on the counter, but you've got Leeds who are always looking to counter all the time and literally don't care if they leave 2 men back or something like that. Like literally, that's how they played. Like even one of their games against Man City earlier this season, that was an incredible game. Going front, go to goal, and that was brilliant. But yeah. Also, with their fans back, like that point was touched on earlier, that's going to be a bit difficult, tricky as well. I think you're looking at a draw, probably.
I think if we kept the unbeaten run, I think that'll be great. James, I hope to see you on Wednesday night, hopefully.
Yeah, sure, I'll come on, no problem.
Please do, and we'll see you on Wednesday. And be a little bit more controversial, please, because Sam really likes it when you like that. But James, enjoy your evening.
Yeah, no problem, lads. Enjoy your evening, lads. See you in a bit.
Thank you very much.
Good, James.
Right, we're going to wrap up because we've got a video coming up literally in 5 minutes, haven't we, Sam?
Yes, scoring the players with myself, Johnny, and I think Brandon.
Yeah, so we've got 3 years coming up to do scoring the players, which is going to start in 5 minutes. I'm going to end this show here, but stay tuned, stay at the channel, because in 5 minutes' time, we've got another one. And these videos normally take about half an hour, 35 minutes to rattle through all the players. And we want to know what your ratings are because it's live, as Martin Tyler would say. But it's been good that we've got this video back. All the fan reaction show will be back Wednesday night. straight after the game as well. Enjoy your evening and stay tuned for Scoring the Player.